In today's news, CCT and 284 Media return as sponsors for the BDO League as officials urge youth to seize opportunities. BVI showcases the role of IFCS in FINTECH and sustainable development. Miss Royal Virgin Islands Police Force 2024 reflects ahead of October 19th coronation, and Seacows Bay resident named 2025 CIBC Unsung Hero. These and more stories when 284 News returns.
We mash the gas, them bite the dust. We set the speed while they gathering rust. Inside we heart BVI come first. So please don't be fooled cause they not like us. Once we mash the gas, them bite the dust. Cause we always fast and we always fuss. If you want a real speed, you know who to trust. Somebody better tell them they're not like who? They're not like us. CCT fast, like CCT fast, like CCT just generosity, love the community bad, like CCT fast with the 5G, cause BVI is we.
At Higher BVI, we're not just about business. We're about empowering lives, and that is because we aspire to inspire. By choosing us, you're supporting a company that believes in equal opportunities, diversity, and community growth. Our mission goes beyond profit. It's about providing HR solutions, fostering talent, and leaving a positive impact. Join us in building a better future, a better BVI. Choose Higher BVI, where your support isn't just a transaction, it's a transformation. Together, we're changing lives in these beautiful Virgin Islands.
Welcome to the Thursday, October 16th edition of 284 News. I am Jacques Wooding Donovan, bringing you the latest out of the British Virgin Islands. Thank you so much for joining us. The excitement is building in school football as the BDO School Football League officially kicked off, with CCT and 284 Media returning as proud sponsors to support the development of young athletes across the territory. More in this report. The highly anticipated BDO School Football League officially opened this week, marking another exciting season of youth sporting talent. Telecommunications companies CCT and 284 Media returned as major sponsors, reaffirming their commitment to supporting sports development at the school level. During the opening ceremony, Birch Letsam, marketing and media manager at 284 Media and CCT, delivered remarks highlighting the positive impact of the league on the community and the opportunities it creates for young athletes.
At CCT, we believe that building the BVI isn't just about technology, speed, or connectivity. It's about people. It's about passion and energy for young players like you that remind us that the future of sport in the BVI is alive and well. And of course, through 284 Media, we're committed to telling the stories, broadcasting your games, and capturing all your victories and celebrating all of your growth every step of the way. We often say that CCT is we, and that's because the BVI is we, and we are the BVI. This means that we're committed to continue to move forward together as one community, supporting, connecting, and celebrating our own. So as we kick off this season, play with your heart, represent your schools with pride, and remember that the entire Virgin Islands is cheering you on.
Acting Director of Youth Affairs and Sports, Shawnice Leonard, also brought greetings on behalf of Education Minister Honorable Sherry De Castro, commending the organizers, parents, sponsors, and participating schools for their dedication to nurturing youth through sports.
The Ministry and the Department of Youth Affairs and Sports are always proud to support initiatives like this one. Programs that not only develop athletic skills, but also build teamwork, discipline, confidence, and character in our young people. To the students and the athletes gathered here today, this league is about more than just winning a match. It's about learning the value of hard work, respect, and perseverance, both on and off the field. Play with heart, play fair, and always remember that you represent your school and your family and your community. To the coaches, teachers, parents, thank you for your time and energy and guidance as you pour into our youth. And to the BVI Football Association and your partners at BDO, thank you for your continued commitment to youth development and for creating opportunities for our students to grow through sport. As we kick off another season, let us continue to work together to nurture talent, promote healthy competition, and strengthen the future for football in the Virgin Islands.
The league, which has quickly become a staple on the local sports calendar, aims to build school spirit, foster discipline, and create pathways for young footballers to advance in the sport. Meanwhile, BVI Finance is spotlighting the territory's role as a global financial hub at AFSIC 2025 in London, where CEO Elise Donovan is leading discussions on how international financial centers like the British Virgin Islands are driving fintech innovation, investment flows, and sustainable development across Africa. More in this report. BVI Finance is representing the territory on the global stage this week as a sponsor of the AFSIC 2025 in London. Chief Executive Officer Elise Donovan leads the delegation, joined by Communications and Research Officer Shamel Smith. At the two-day AFSIC 2025 conference, Donovan moderated a panel discussion titled Destination Digital Africa and Global Hubs Live, FinTech C-Suite Priorities, and the IFC Advantage. Panelists included Applebee's Jeffrey Kirk, Conyers' Eric Flay, and Tom Dugdale from Harneys. The session explored how international financial centers, such as the British Virgin Islands, continue to play a critical role in supporting fintech innovation, cross-border connectivity, and sustainable growth. The discussion built on BVI Finance's latest Destination Africa report, which now includes insights from Kenya, South Africa, and Nigeria. The report outlines how IFCs contribute to emerging markets by facilitating investment flows and enabling efficient capital structuring. In addition to her role at the AFSIC, Elise Donovan also spoke at the 2025 East African Association Lecture and Conference in London, where she highlighted the importance of IFCs in driving sustainable growth and investment across developing countries in Africa. She emphasized that the BVI serves as a specialized center for cross-border trade, investment, and finance, providing tax neutrality, legal certainty through English common law, and a secure, well-regulated environment that supports both private investment and public-private partnerships. Donovan also pointed out that as global aid declines, the need to mobilize private capital is growing. IFCs like the British Virgin Islands offer practical tools for overcoming investment barriers, including fund structuring, risk mitigation, and investor protection mechanisms that are essential for financing development. The BVI's role in facilitating international investment is particularly significant in the context of China-Africa relations. 44% of BVI company beneficial owners originate from China, and the jurisdiction facilitates a substantial share of China's foreign direct investment into Africa. With a strong commitment to regulatory compliance and international standards set by the OECD, FATF, and EU, the BVI continues to position itself as a trusted hub for responsible finance and inclusive economic development. In other news, Miss Royal Virgin Islands Police Force 2024, Tarsan Sharp, is preparing to crown her successor at a ceremony on Sunday, October 19th. And ahead of that event, she stopped by the 284 Media studio to reflect on her year of service and personal growth she's already had during her reign.
I'm not feeling sad. I feel like the journey and the reign did what it was supposed to do. I have grown a lot, and I'm excited to see someone else in the position get to have the experiences that I had and grow in the ways that I've grown, or even better. So I'm excited, I should say, even though I'm passing on the title. It would give a bit of bittersweetness, but I'm excited. I would definitely, in the past, be in the back of the class, helping out from behind the scenes. I'm happy now to put myself out there and do different things. This morning, for example, I had a presentation, and it was supposed to be a group presentation, but I wasn't getting the other person. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it myself. I'll be fine. I know what I'm doing. You know, so compared to before, where I'd be like, oh my gosh, I don't have somebody else. What am I going to do? I'm not panicking. I'm definitely more calm and more confident in my ability to do whatever it is that I need to do. Discipline was always there. I have this thing for meal prepping and gym life. So a lot of times people would say, I don't know how you do that. So the discipline was always there. I don't miss a week. So I've tried to put that into the pageantry. So if I need to show up for something, I show up. If I need to give a helping hand here, I make sure I do that. So in terms of leadership, I would say I'm definitely more confident taking on a more leadership role, especially with practices where, let's say, I have to show something to the girls, and if coach calls on me to show something to the girls, I'm not shying away, like, oh my God, save me. Now I'm like, okay, this is what you need to do, let's do it. I'm actually acting detective sergeant within my unit, so I am in a leadership role now. It has its challenges, but I, through pageantry as well, have learned to really, I was already very self-aware, but I feel now I'm more able to manage my emotions. So leading people can be difficult, but the patience that come with pageantry and the art of it, it does help you to transfer that a bit over into leadership roles. So I've been trying to apply a few things, you know, the grace, leading with grace.
If you had to pinpoint a moment or an experience that you had during your time as Miss RVIPF that you would say is the most memorable for you, what would that be?
That moment would definitely be the night of the coronation, because that was the first experience I had being around so much people and being in that particular position. Everybody wants to talk, the center of attention. And I'm like, this is so out of my element. I mean, when we had practice, coach would say things like, well, people are going to be there, you have to get used to people, but you can't imagine how that feels. And it was very overwhelming, but in a good way. And still in my mind, I was like, what did I get myself into? Am I going to be able to do this? So much going on in my head, but to look back at, in that moment, all the support, because people were there from different departments that I work with at my unit. And it was just amazing to see all that love and support. So that moment sits with me a lot. I was literally looking at pictures of it the other day, and I was like, wow, the feelings came back to me, and I really remembered, and I was like, wow, it's been a journey. It's really been a journey. I'm just excited. It's all I can say. I just know what's coming, and I've seen what the girls are doing. I'm excited for everybody else to see them. So I hope you guys buy your tickets. Don't miss out. It's just $30. It's for a good cause. Promise, it's an amazing show. The production coach, he's very creative. So I've been in awe a lot of times seeing how he executes certain things, and he'll do something now and then something else comes and he's building on top of that, kind of snowballing but positively. It's just been an amazing experience. I'm really excited for Sunday night.
Up next, families reject U.S. claims after deadly boat strike leaves 2 Trinidadian nationals dead. And Hunter urges continued pressure on Israel amid ceasefire agreement. These and more stories after a word from our sponsors.
Just give me my service. Yeah. Just give me my service.
Just give me my service.
Make the switch to CCT and get connected today. Unlimited talk, text, and data. Visit any CCT store or call us at 444-4444. CCT, Life Unlimited.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Lucinda Minnie Smith of Seacows Bay, Tortola, has been named CIBC Caribbean's 2025 Unsung Hero for the Virgin Islands. She was honored for her decades of quiet service, generosity, and community care that have made her a cherished figure across the territory. More in this report. CIBC Caribbean has announced Mrs. Lucinda Minnie Smith of Seacows Bay, Tortola as the 2025 Unsung Hero of the Virgin Islands and honored her for her extraordinary compassion, selflessness, and lifelong commitment to serving others. The announcement was made at a celebration luncheon held at Maria's by the Sea, where Mrs. Smith was recognized alongside runner-up Miss Kimberly Herbert. Affectionately known as Minnie, Mrs. Smith has been a source of nourishment, comfort, and kindness in her community for decades. From her early years in Bellevue to her roles as mother, grandmother, and businesswoman, she embodies the Virgin Islands' traditions of respect, sharing, and community spirit. Whether through a warm meal, a loaf of her renowned bread, or a simple word of encouragement, Minnie gives herself freely without ever seeking recognition. Delivering her tribute, Venicia Holder, head of International Corporate Banking and Unsung Hero 2025 coordinator, said, "Lucinda's story is one of quiet strength, compassion, and lifelong service. Her home is always open, her kitchen is always warm, and her heart always ready to welcome anyone in need. She is the embodiment of what it means to be an unsung hero." End quote. The regionally held Unsung Heroes campaign was launched in June and invited the public in each territory to nominate individuals who were aged 10 years or older, had not been previously celebrated or significantly rewarded, and most importantly, whose acts of kindness, bravery, or service touched lives within the last 12 months. Nominees needed to be submitted by August 22nd. This year's honorees for the Virgin Islands were chosen by a panel of respected community leaders: Mrs. Geraldine Ritter-Freeman, Miss Bria Smith, and Mr. Pete Smith, who dedicated their time and expertise in reviewing nominations and selecting the reward recipient. In her heartfelt acceptance remarks, Mrs. Smith expressed her gratitude and humility. She said, "I would like to express how genuinely happy and surprised I am to be the winner of the Unsung Heroes program. I thank God for giving me health and strength to help others using the talent of cooking and baking He has given me. I am honored to receive this award, which sums up my life, touching the lives of others without seeking any recognition." She went on to thank CIBC Caribbean for creating the program, the Unsung Hero Committee, led by Mrs. Holder, the judges, her nominator Raymond Fonseca, and her family for their unwavering support. She encouraged her fellow nominees and the wider community to continue to bless each other each day. In regional news, 2 Trinidadians were among 6 people killed in what is now the 5th deadly strike by U.S. forces on a vessel operating in the waters between Venezuela and Trinidad and Tobago. The incident occurred earlier this week when U.S. warships opened fire on a boat allegedly traveling with cocaine, according to U.S. officials. But the families of the deceased are rejecting those claims, saying that the men were not involved in drug trafficking. Chad Joseph, 26, and another man identified only as Samaru were killed in the strike. U.S. authorities claim that the boat was part of a narco-trafficking operation bound for the U.S. mainland. The White House said the vessel was carrying bales of cocaine as cargo, but relatives and neighbors of Joseph said he was a fisherman, not a criminal. Joseph's own mother denied he was involved in any illegal activity and expressed grief and disbelief over the manner in which her son was killed while speaking to local press. The Trinidad Express reported that Joseph had traveled to Colombia and was transiting through Venezuela back to Trinidad when the boat was attacked. The deaths have sparked outrage, particularly as they follow recent remarks by Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, who had issued a controversial call for U.S. authorities to, quote, kill them all violently, in reference to alleged traffickers. In international news, a 284 Media follow-up interview with British Virgin Islander and flotilla volunteer Dane Hunter predicted that Israel may not keep the ceasefire in place, even though Hunter says he welcomes the much-needed break for Palestinians. More in this report. It is a good sign, but those were the words from Captain and Global Samad Flotilla volunteer BV Islander Dane Hunter when he was asked about the current ceasefire in Gaza. He cautioned against viewing the ceasefire as a sign that the conflict is over, arguing that Israel has already violated the agreement and that global pressure must continue. In a follow-up interview with 284 Media, where he reflected on these recent developments, Hunter acknowledged why people might want to celebrate the ceasefire, but said that reality on the ground tells a different story.
But we have to remember that their end goal here is genocide. And so there is no real middle ground where you can compromise on that or where you can negotiate when they're wanting to eradicate or displace an entire population and take all that land. I think if we are discussing disarmament, that has to start with Israel. Like it's, I understand people wanting there to be concessions where people put the guns down, but one side has nukes, one side is the oppressor. One side has been implementing this apartheid in the region for decades.
Hunter described the ceasefire as evidence that international pressure is having an impact, but warned that Israel's ultimate goal remains unchanged.
When we discuss a lasting peace, there needs to be restitution, there needs to be accountability. Stopping the bombs, that's only the first step. And settlers need to leave the West Bank and the rest of occupied Palestine. And I don't see Israel right now ceding all of that. So I think it's very important to keep up with the public pressure that we've been building and to not let that momentum dissipate because there are headlines saying that the war is over. They are continuing on with their genocide. If it's slower or quieter, it doesn't change what's going on.
He stressed the importance of centering Palestinians in discussions about peace, noting that what they need is self-determination, not saviors who want to make decisions for them. Hunter's comments come after his earlier account of the flotilla's interception in international waters while attempting to deliver aid to Gaza, which drew international attention. Up next, Men's National League heats up in Tortola and Virgin Gorda this weekend, and 70% chance of showers, thunderstorms, and a small craft advisory in effect tonight. These and more stories when 284 News returns.
My name is Henry Bosch. I work for PPG. I'm here to explain to you the use of the Deltron NXT paint line and Enviro-based high performance, one being solvent-borne and the next being waterborne. The difference is that one is totally manufactured with rosins and thinners and all the good stuff that solvents bring versus our new technology, which is waterborne, which is 100% latex. What we're gonna do is that we reduce the solvent-borne with a DT885, which is a mid-temp reducer. And the waterborne uses T494, which is a waterborne reducer. We will today be using either DCU 2042, which is a speed clear, or we will be using DCU 2021, which is a classic. We have here our equipment. We have 8-ounce measuring cups, and we also have our 32-ounce mixing cup. We will also have with us our Venturi. This is a blower for us to dry the waterborne paint, which speeds up the process. The good thing about waterborne paint is that as soon as it evaporates, you're good to go. So now Gilligan will dilute the waterborne paint with the waterborne reducer. We made 8 ounces, that would be 1.6 ounce. It always has to be properly mixed until we get an even mixture within the paint mixing cup. So when we spray, we don't see uneven coats of color. So right now we're filling our paint gun with 8 ounces of diluted paint. We're gonna see how far 8 ounces will take us. Waterborne paint seems to look blotchy on your first coat. Don't pay no mind to that. Don't try to achieve full coverage on your first spray. Excellent. Let it dry. So the process in waterborne is 2 even coats, and then we have what we call a dust coat. Well, now we're gonna have Mr. Brown apply the first coat of clear on his waterborne panel. We'll let it flash off, and then he'll come back and coat it with his second coat to finish it off. As you had seen in the previous shots, we had a little blotchiness, and you'll see some patches. That's all due on purpose to sandpaper to prove that with EnviroBase high performance, all technicians, the body work has to end at 800 grit or plus. Well, EnviroBase is like, we're trying to shift everyone into that slowly but surely. The entire west coast of the United States and all of Canada has already been on waterborne for the past 10 years. And now soon it'll be the eastern seaboard, which covers the Caribbean. So when that happens, we'll all be affected. So it's best to start now, start trying and applying waterborne, because eventually everyone will be on it. And referring to technicians, it's less harmful because it doesn't have all the toxic chemicals that solvent-borne paints do.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. In sports, the BVI Football Association's Men's National League continues this weekend with a packed schedule of matches across Tortola and Virgin Gorda. On Saturday, October 18th, the action kicks off at the A.O. Shirley Recreation Grounds at 4 p.m. with One Love United FC taking on Wallules FC. That match will be followed by an 8 p.m. showdown between Rebels FC and Old Madrid FC. Sunday's matches begin at 4 p.m. at the A.O. Shirley Grounds, where Lionheart FC will face off against Panthers FC, while over on Virgin Gorda, the weekend football continues at the Virgin Gorda Recreation Ground starting at 5:45 p.m. as VG United FC plays Sugar Boys FC. The evening concludes with Avengers FC going up against Islanders FC. Fans are encouraged to come out and support their favorite teams in what promises to be another exciting weekend of local football. In weather, the local weather forecast for the British Virgin Islands calls for partly cloudy skies with intervals of increased cloudiness throughout the night. Due to available moisture and instability in the atmosphere, there is a 70% or high chance of showers and thunderstorms. Winds will be from the south to the southwest at speeds ranging from 16 to 29 kilometers per hour or 10 to 18 miles per hour. Seas are expected to range between 1.2 to 1.8 meters or 4 to 6 feet, and small craft operators should proceed with caution. Temperatures are forecast to drop to a low of 22 degrees Celsius or 72 degrees Fahrenheit overnight. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 6:12 a.m. And that's it for today's news roundup. Be sure to follow us for daily news updates. Like us on Facebook at 284Media and 284BVI on Instagram and Twitter. Well, I should say X, since we have switched to that in the modern day. I'm Jaka Wooding Donovan, and I will see you again tomorrow. So have yourself a safe and enjoyable evening. Goodbye.